Welcome back to another episode of the Moments of Joy podcast. MVPs, welcome back. You know, I say hello to you before I start every single episode because you're my most valuable players and you press play on every episode. And if this is your first time joining us here on this show, welcome to this podcast, which is a space created for you. If you're listening, that means you're a family member or a friend or a friend of a person that is raising a child with special needs. So, welcome to the show, and most importantly, welcome to the community. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about being misunderstood but carried, misunderstood, but remembering that we are not alone. I think that's such a topic that is near and dear to my heart. I found the value of community a few years ago on a little app called Clubhouse, where I hosted a support group for a year for parents that had children with special needs. And I say special needs because it didn't matter in that space. I learned that whether it was autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, whether they were blind, deaf, all the parents, we connected on certain common things that we had, and it was at heart. We connected at heart. We had the same worries. We had some of the same struggles, and I found that to be such a space of strength for me. Just learning resources, learning how it looked for other families and their life, and so I wanted to create that space, and here we are today. So I want to welcome you and really welcome the parent who is really in the thick of it, who really is in need of support. I want to encourage you not just to listen to this podcast, which will be a place of support for you, but also get into support groups that are local and that might be online. I remember early on just trying to find people who had a similar diagnosis as Masons, and that kind of mirrored that so that I could see, how would it look down the road for Mason? How would this journey look as being a special needs parent for me? Community is so important because it's isolating enough when you are misunderstood, when you are around family members who, despite you explaining over and over again, they still don't get it. And let me tell you something. People that want to get it, they'll get it. And when you don't, you're not going to get it. I think anything that we want to understand, we do naturally. Um, and so don't find yourself over explaining over and over and over again to a person that doesn't want to get it, because honey, they'll understand anything that they want to understand. So let me remind you of that. You may be misunderstood, but you are not alone. And so today's episode is for every parent who feels like they're silently screaming, for every mom or dad who's been smiling while holding back tears, for every dad or mom who's going hard at, trying to help their children and doing the hard work that never gets asked, how are you holding up? This episode is for you. You may feel misunderstood, but you are not walking this journey alone. If you're watching this episode, that's proof of that. I want to validate, some of those emotions that we feel being misunderstood. I remember one day going into Mason's school. I had gotten a brand new stroller for him, and plug, if your child is over the size of a typical child who would be in a stroller, you can get a stroller fit to your child, even if they're 7, 8, 12, 24. You can get a stroller that is fit to your child, paid for by insurance. And I had just gotten a stroller for Mason because he elopes and he has sensory overload. So sometimes when we go into a new place, he's very overloaded. And this umbrella on his stroller helps him to feel like it helps him to feel regulated. It helps him to feel like he's okay when he can pull that down and he doesn't feel so nervous and doesn't feel so overwhelmed. And so We had just come from the doctor. I got him out the car to bring him into school now, and I'm bringing him in the stroller. And his secretary says, "What is that? Why is he in there?" And I paused and I looked at her and I said, "It's a stroller." Now, this is a big, bright blue stroller. Anybody with eyes can see that it's a stroller. But she meant it sarcastically. And so I told her what it was and I told her why he needed it. And she quickly said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But we get that as parents over and over and over again. I wish I could say that you never have a life of judgment down this road of raising a child with special needs, but you will most certainly have to defend. You will most certainly feel like you want to snatch somebody's wig off. You will, but remember that you are never alone. And you know what? They're not even worth it for you to exhort yourself being all upset, over someone who is ignorant and by choice. Because especially in 2025, we don't have to stay ignorant about anything. We have Google, we have AI, we have YouTube to teach us anything. I remember I had a fan break on my van back in the day when I drove a van, and I went on YouTube and learned how to go to the um auto parts store and buy the fan and the fan belt, and I put it in myself with a pair of pliers. And so that's proof that we can learn anything, because I'm a girl and I do not know anything about auto mechanics. So, people normally just see on the surface. They don't have the ability to look beneath the surface at all. So they come to these conclusions and make judgments, but don't let that set root in you and in your heart and in your brain and in the words that will replay to you. Don't let it be anything that comes interior that you're not able to just brush off your shoulders, because those words do not matter. But you know what does matter? The words you speak to yourself. I was telling somebody before about sticky notes, just looking around to see if I had any. But Post-it stickers in 2021, I learned the value of them. I would write kind notes to myself, or words of affirmation, or things that I wanted to see come to pass, and I would put it on my mirror. I had about 10 of them, bright hot pink on the mirror, and I would brush my teeth and I would look at them every day. And you know what? Little by little, I started to take them down because they started to happen. I would pray over a thing, I would believe, and then those things would come to pass. And along with those things, I will put kind words to myself that you're an amazing mom. You're doing the best you can, because sometimes we have to encourage ourselves and not look for people to encourage us. Because if that was the case, we'd all be dry and empty waiting for someone else sometimes to encourage us. I want to also encourage you to get a notepad and a pen and write a note to yourself on your strongest day where you feel the most strength. Write a note to yourself that you'll read on your weakest day. And that is a beautiful thing. You are speaking into yourself. So those are two tools that I just gave you. It hurts when people don't ask how your child is doing and how you're doing, but they just come straight with the judgment. I want you to remember your story is valid, even if they don't understand. What you feel is valid. What you guys are going through is valid. Your journey is valid. And you don't necessarily need the understanding of people to validate you. And sometimes that's hard to take in, especially when it's your mom or your dad or your sister or your uncle or your aunt or your grandma, somebody closer to you. Sometimes they're just not gonna get it. But don't let that control who you think you are as a parent, who you believe your child is as a parent. You're going to continue to do an amazing job in raising this child with special needs. All of our children No, they won't go into general education. They won't go into and get straight A's and B's. That just won't be some of our story. But it doesn't matter. That doesn't take away how amazing your child is, how much of an angel they are, how God created them in his image. That doesn't take away from it. That child is your special gift, whether they want to understand or not. All right? Remember that. Caregiver burnout is real. Advocacy fatigue is real. Invisible labor is real. And even more of a reason why we have to prioritize our mental health in this. I was advocating, this is recently, I was advocating for my son so hard. If you've been listening back on the other episodes, you hear me sharing about how I'm fighting for him in school so hard. And it was making me have anxiety. But anxiety is something that I've dealt with and had for a while. But I finally decided to tell the doctor. I was going to the doctors all this time and they're asking, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Yes, yes, fine. Because that's what we do. If it's not 911 emergency and sometimes blood all over the place, we deal with it ourselves. But I finally said, you know what? No, I need a little bit of help with anxiety. It had pushed me to a place where it was happening every day. So guess what I did? I signed up for therapy. This is not my first time um, going to therapy, but it's one that I'm proud of because we deserve to put our mental health first and prioritize our mental health. Does that mean I'm going crazy? No. Does that mean I'm weak? No. But it means I need some tools to help me to deal with day to day caregiver burnout, day to day advocating. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a friend, I'm a business owner, so many things. And what are the things that you are? You can list who you are too. But we also need to be on the list of prioritizing. I know y'all hear me say that over and over and over again, but a lot of times we find ourselves in complete burnout and we don't do anything about it. We just make excuses. And a friend, it's not okay. Our blood pressure high and our blood um our blood levels all over the place and we're not going to the doctors and let alone taking care of our mental health, but you have to be okay so that your child can be okay. You can't go somewhere dropping dead. You got to be here to caregive, right? You got to be here to make sure your child is okay. Evermore, more a reason why you have to prioritize yourself because it is real. God will sustain you when you feel like you don't have any more strength. I I know I have been there. I know you have been there, dad and mom, where you might feel like I don't know how much more of this I can take. I am not strong enough for this. And me, I always give you guys tips. I give you all the resources, but the main thing that sustains me is God. And when you talk to him, you do not have to come to him with all these eloquent words. Don't let that intimidate you because he is the father that created you. So you can talk to him just like you would talk to me, just like you would get on the phone and make an appointment, just like you would call your sister, your friend, your husband, your boyfriend, your mom. Just talk. Say, God, I need your strength. And he'll give you strength for another day. That is how I continue to stand. God, I need you. God, I need angelic assistance to help me to figure out what I need to do to fight for my child. You know, things might not change right in front of your face, like it's a genie in a bottle, but little by little, it'll be in that silent strength, that sustaining power, that joy that you feel every day. So keep fighting and know that you're not alone. Keep allowing God to carry the load for you. That's big. And it can be just in words. God, I release this pressure to you. We hold on tight. And I remember talking to my mom um more recently just about advocating and all the things, and she was reminding me to, give things over to God. And sometimes it could be words that don't help in the moment, but that's why I'm giving you dual things to do. Like I pray, but I also go to the doctors and get therapy. I'm also very logical and here on this earth, and so are you. So you do what is needed. God created the doctors, right? And caregiver burnout is real. It's like a fire that literally is burnt out, and we live in it. So, and a lot of us are used to living in it, but sometimes you see these news articles of parents that have given up because we have family members that don't understand. There's no one that you can go to, but you have to start building. Build by your. If you're alone and you don't have community, build. Get a therapist. Who is his occupation? Who's your child's occupational therapist? Their speech therapist. Their uh, ABA therapist. You talk. You let them know you need community. If there's other parents that are at the daycare or the school you might bump into, hey, what's your name? How old's your child? My child's the same. You want to have a play date in these Facebook groups? After you've confirmed identities of people, maybe you can go to a meetup. If you're not in a Facebook group for your child's diagnosis, I suggest getting in some, because those have been some of the greatest support groups I've gone to. I've gone on a boat ride with the Autism Moms of Houston. I've gone to Love Peace Autism here. If it wasn't for social media, I would have no idea that these things exist. I'm having our own first support group here in Houston, a soft launch, I'll call it, on the 31st. And you can sign up for that on an awesomely different website. But you make sure that you have community so that you do not feel alone. God promised that He made us and He will carry us. So I want you to know that I see you and you are not invisible. Everything that you feel is valid, and you're a part of this bigger story, right? Of our children's lives. It's not just about the now, but the future. You're a part of a bigger story of strength, love, and divine help. Community. I can't drive that home enough. Find community. Sometimes it's as simple as calling 211, which I gave a plug to in a previous episode, but find your community. Don't stay out there on an island by yourself, because naturally, as parents raising children with special needs, we're going to feel isolated when we're rejected. And then we'll say, okay, well, we're not going back there. Naturally, don't live on an island isolated. Community is golden. And, when you're misunderstood and when people don't understand, that's okay. You find the people who do understand, and you find the people who are going to work with you, who are going to be a part of your child's journey. Sometimes that hurts to let people go, but sometimes it is absolutely necessary for your own mental health and for your child's beauty and safety. I always say that people, they learn what they want to learn. And they do what they want to do. So don't put too much pressure on over explaining and over educating. That's not yours to carry. All right. Um, Stay encouraged, lift your head up. I call myself the chief encourager, because that's what you're going to get here. Encouragement. Sometimes when I don't know what to encourage you on, I encourage you on things that I need encouragement on. And this week, I needed encouragement, and I'm so proud of myself for getting back into therapy. and prioritizing my mental health. And I want you guys to do the same thing. All right. And always remember that you have the option to choose joy. I say that every single episode because joy is a choice. Even in the midst of chaos that might be going on in our lives, you can literally get up every morning and choose to have joy because it's happiness that's not based on circumstance. All right. All right. Connect with us on social media. If you're listening, leave us a review on Apple. Those are so important. And if you're watching on YouTube, drop us a comment on social media. Continue to share. This is so important so that other parents like us can find us. Thank you guys. And I will catch you on the next episode. Bye bye.